Hi, this is Lisa Rangel with Chameleon Resumes, the premier executive resume writing company, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I want to give you interview tips from a recruiter's perspective. Specifically, I want to show you what you need to do to land a job interview. So, I think there's three main points that you need to do to land a job interview in today's economic marketplace. First, people are inundated with communication, and I think it's really important to be seen through the volumes of emails and texts and tweets that everybody's getting nowadays. And so the first step, I think, is to be really genuine in your communication when you're reaching out to somebody. And that's somebody you know as well as somebody you don't know. I think specifically with people you don't know, it's important, not to coldly ask for referrals from people who you don't know. To me, that's like being on a first date and asking somebody to marry you. Like, it's just wildly inappropriate and a little too fast, too soon. And I see it happen all the time on LinkedIn, via email. People, I have no idea who they are. They haven't been a follower of mine. They're not a colleague or a connection of mine. Just people out of the blue just asking me, can you refer me to XYZ person? And I'm like, I don't even know who you are or what you do. But it happens all the time. So, don't take advantage of your network, whether you know them or you don't know them. Don't approach people coldly with, no warming up and with no facts behind your request. Be genuine in your communication and go slow. I think that's number one. And that approach, I think, will help you get through the myriad of information that we're all bombarded with every day. So the second, I think, is to be creative in your approach. One thing that's a big pet peeve of mine is when people, whether I know them or I don't know them, they're sending me, a cover letter that says, I'm a creative XYZ. And it could be a marketing officer, a financial executive, it can be an HR coordinator, any level, any position. They tell me they're creative in their approach, and yet pretty much all they've done is, go submit through a job board, and that's how I've come across their resume, or that's the complaints I hear from other recruiters or other HR managers that are in my network. As people say they're creative, but then they're in their words, but then in their actions, they're not creative. They're submitting through a job posting, which is what, everyone does. So, let your words be bigger by having your actions back it up. If you're saying you're creative, then reach out to people in a creative way. Don't let them see your resume and cover letter for the first time through a job posting. Reach out to them directly. Be genuine in your approach. Look for referrals where you can. Do some research before you reach out to people, and then again, be creative. Again, be creative in what you're saying, because you'll be amazed. I haven't been a recruiter for 10 years. Chameleon Resumes is 10 years old, so I was a recruiter for 13 years, but it's now 10 years ago. And while I keep my network, up to date and I stay in contact with people, I personally haven't recruited in 10 years, and I still get blind approaches from people that are, like, hey, you're a recruiter, what jobs do you have for me? I'm like, okay, that's so not the way to do it. But again, read somebody's profile, do some homework before you reach out to them, and then again, be creative in your approach. A little bit of homework goes a long way. So this way, when you say you're a creative professional who does out of the box type of, solutions, your actions by being creative in your approach and doing a creative approach will back itself up. So that's the second tactic that I suggest you use to land an interview. Essentially, you're going to grab somebody's attention and they're going to want to talk to you. And then the third, tactic I suggest for people to use in landing interviews is don't be discouraged by the no's and the silences. Now, that's an odd action, right? Because it's really like a do nothing kind of action. But, doing nothing is an action in my book. Frankly, if most of us paused in this world in general, it would probably be a better place, right? Because everybody's just acting impulsively and doing what comes to mind immediately. But if you get rejected or if you don't hear anything, I'm not saying you can't feel disappointed. I'm just saying don't get discouraged. Simply put, and even somewhat coldly put, getting an interview is a numbers game. And the more you do it, the better you get at your approach each time you do it. That's what's going to land you an interview. You reach out to 10 people, you're having a great day if 2 people get back to you. Don't get discouraged about the 8 who didn't, or of those 8, maybe 4 told you no and 4 didn't say anything. Don't worry about those 8. Focus on the 2 that got back to you, and go from there. This is a numbers game, and you got to just play the game. So every no is closer to yes. In sales, they say it can take 6 to 8 approaches before you actually get someone's attention. So you may have to do it more than once. You may have to do it in different mediums. Maybe you direct message somebody on Twitter in one way, maybe you send them an email at another time. Maybe you're commenting on their LinkedIn article and then, sending them a message as a result of commenting on that article for the third approach. So, again, it comes back to being creative, it comes back to being resilient, and don't be discouraged. So when you apply these 3 tactics, you will generate more interviews for yourself. And what I want to offer you is, if you're finding yourself, especially with the second item that I offered you in terms of being creative for your interviews, I have an ebook down below. It's called 89 Ways to Land a Job Interview. And these are 89 ways that either my clients or myself have landed interviews. And so these are 89 proven ways that people have landed interviews. And it's a way to then inspire your job search. So you're like, I don't know what else to do. If you're at that point, you're going to want this, because if you even apply 2 or 3 of the ideas in this book, it's going to be worth it. It's going to reinvigorate your job search. You're going to come across creative. When you say you're creative in your cover letters and in your emails and in your resume, you're not going to be lying. Because you're going to have 89 ways, most of which are creative, ways to land interviews. And if you employ some of these, not even all of them, you're absolutely going to have interviews. So and I have that in the description box down below. Make sure that you grab that if you're feeling like you need some ideas to spark your job search and land some interviews. I know you'll enjoy it. So anyway, I want to thank you for staying with me throughout the video today. And if you like this, please do like it. If you have a comment, please add it at the bottom there below. And I read and reply to every comment. If you have any questions, you can email me at lr@chameleonresumes.com. And if you know someone who can benefit from this information, feel free to share it. I'd be honored. And that's all we got for today. So have a great day, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, to our Chameleon Resumes channel, so you do not miss next week's video. Have an awesome day.